You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
Hello, everyone. Welcome in to Watson's Playbook. Welcome into episode number 27 of Watson's Playbook here. Hope you guys have had a fantastic week. I've had a pretty good week. We've been, like we talked about last time, getting the house and everything. So we started cleaning up the house we're in now to get ready to move. Eventually, we got a lot of things to get rid of. So we're just kind of starting that process and just kind of anxiously waiting to start that process and move over there. But not much here, just working. Try to get more hours of work and, make that money. So I wish you guys the best and thank you all for who jump on and listen. We got the headlines here about to jump into. So let's go ahead and start that. Headlines number one. This is week 10 of the NFL. The Patriots upset the Baltimore Ravens in a rainy Sunday night game. I don't know if you guys were able to watch this game. It was a defensive game. Lamar Jackson actually out-threw Cam Newton, but still ended up losing. He had 249 yards. Cam Newton only threw for 189 yards. The problem with the Ravens, and they're kind of gone on a little bit of a slump here. The problem with the Ravens is once you get the Ravens up by double digits, they're not built to come back. They're more of a run the ball first. We're going to play good defense. We're going to run the ball. The offense they have is made specifically for Lamar Jackson's talents. He's a better runner. We all know that. I don't think he's great at throwing the football. That's the knock that he has. So when you need to score points quick, when you get down, they can't do that. Actually, Lamar Jackson is 0-6 when showing by 10 points or more. And they were down by 10 in this game, and they lost 23-17. Something that Baltimore is going to have to figure out. Another thing, too, on the Ravens and on Lamar Jackson is he came out last week and he said that the defenses are calling out the offensive plays. He said they know what's coming. That's probably because the NFL has figured out your offense with Lamar Jackson. And so now Lamar, they've got to make some changes there, I believe, to throw off the defenses, because now Lamar has plenty of tape on how they're going to run his offense, and now they've got to go out there and make those changes. I think if they don't make those changes, the Baltimore Ravens could be in trouble if that's the issue. Of defenses are really calling up plays on the other side of the line. All right, guys, we're going to head into number 2 here. Rams slow down Russell Wilson and control this game as they went 23-16. It really didn't seem that close. I watched this game from top to bottom, and it looked like the Rams had control of this game pretty much throughout the whole thing. Russ made some poor decisions with the football. He has 10 turnovers this season so far. He has been careless with the football. There was a play that he could have ran the ball for about 15 yards, got the first down. As he decided to start running, he could still throw. He's behind the line of scrimmage. He throws across his body and gets picked off in the end zone. He throws 2 interceptions this game. He's pretty much dropped himself out of the MVP race as of late. He had 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in this game. Did not look very good. This offense did not look very good. Jalen Ramsey, the shutdown corner, did just that. It took Metcalf out of the game. He only had 2 catches for 28 yards and really made him ineffective in this football game. And the Seattle Seahawks, if Russell Wilson's turning over the football and they're not able to somewhat run the ball and they have to rely on their defense, this is not going to go very good for them. Their defense is not very good at all, and the Rams look pretty good this week of the 23-16 win and slowing down Russell Wilson. Number 3, Tua starts 3-0 in his NFL career as he beats the Chargers 29-21. It's a battle of the rookie quarterbacks. Herbert threw for 197 yards, which was more than Tua. Tua hasn't been putting up awesome numbers, but he's 3-0. This Miami defense is what Tua can lean on. As long as Tua doesn't come out there and make big mistakes, they look like a very good football team. Tua has been improving each week, as we've seen that. And the Miami defense is just slowing down teams. They held Herbert to 197 yards. It may be his lowest in his career so far because he's started this year. But they beat the Miami Dolphins beat them this week. I thought Herbert was going to play a little bit better, but he ran into a really good defense, and they ended up losing that one. Number 4, the Bills stampede falls short as the Hail Mary with 1 second left gets the victory. Bills drove down the field. This is a back and forth game and a really good football game between these two. They drove down the field and they went up 30-26 as Diggs makes a great catch, a great pass and a great catch. The end zone, they went up by 6 with 43 seconds left. Murray drives down with 42 seconds left, and he throws a 43-yard Hail Mary. There's 11 seconds on the clock. He rolls out to his left, breaks a tackle, heaves it up 43 yards, and DeAndre Hopkins catches the Hail Mary in between 3. That's right, 3 defenders. If you haven't seen this play, which you probably have, it's literally all over the social media. It was an amazing play. I was watching the Rams-Seattle game. I flipped over to this game to see the ending. I saw Diggs make the catch. I said, that's pretty much ball game. But Murray comes out, and he gets the job done. DeAndre Hopkins goes up, battles 3 Bills defenders for the football, brings it down, and they win the ball game 30-26. It was what a fantastic game that was. They win 32-30. And that was the final score of that game. Number 5, the Steelers continue the Steelers continue their dominance as they bounce back from a lousy performance last week. They handle the Bengals 36-10 to remain undefeated. Will they continue this undefeated streak? Will they remain and go 16-0 heading into the playoffs? I don't know. It looks like they got a good chance to, but I think they got to face the Chiefs, and they have to face Baltimore again. So those are 2 games which will be tough to win. But they beat the Steelers. They beat the Baltimore already one time this year. They could probably beat them again. That defense, that was tough. This is Baltimore. We'll see if they can go 16-0. I don't know. And the Jets remain winless this week too as well. So you got 2 teams that one's undefeated and one is not got that first victory yet. So it's interesting that we still this late into the year have that going on in the NFL right now. So and that is it for the headlines. There was only a couple good games this week. Not much happening other than that. The Saints end up winning the football game, but they lose Drew Brees. He has a couple broken ribs and a punctured lung. All right, I'm going to welcome in my buddy Jeff.
What's going on?
What's going on? What is his name? What is his name, Jeff? I can't think of his name. He's backup quarterback for the Saints.
I'll look it up.
Jameis Winston. Thank you.
Okay.
Jameis Winston's going to step in and play because Drew Brees has the multiple fractures of the ribs and a collapsed lung. So we're going to see him play. I'm having a brain fart today. Apparently, I can't think of names. But
It happens.
Yeah, it happens. How have you been, Jeff? How have you been this week?
Pretty good. Just doing a new project with this film guy. Doing a. It's like a poster, like a movie poster, but he's also going to put it on Instagram and Facebook, I think. So working on that. My last project I did for their Instagram stuff, and I did another one for a logo, but that's a process for the logo. He did email me and tell me that sorry, I said that wrong. They have like awards. So the TV show that he's produced won a couple awards, and I did put the awards laurels on, which is like that. Sometimes you'll see them in films where it'll be like, this won a Venice Award, this won and it has those little like leaves around the sides. So those are laurels. And so I made those and then put them in an image and then added some depth to it. I made the characters kind of pop out. So they're kind of seems like they're like the laurels are kind of within the image. So those got a lot of traction on social media, thousands of people. So it was kind of interesting, but which is kind of weird. I'm like, what is going on? So I'm working on this. I'm working on this poster. I'm doing some adding some of the awards to it, and then kind of making it look, interesting. I got to add a photo effect to it, but he's pretty patient. He's pretty cool about stuff. So other than that, I've been working at my regular job, which is pretty good. It's getting busier. So I think they said it was going to get busier here in the next few weeks. So, which is cool. My boss actually the other day was like, hey, can you stay here all day today, but only work full a day next week, one day? And it was on a Friday. I was like, I don't think I can. I had to run a bunch of errands. So I was like, I don't know if I can. But
it's probably getting busy for the holidays.
Well, they were waiting for a lot of seeds to come in. So I think when seeds come in, they have to do like a germination process, and they have to get certified if they're organic, if they're not organic. And so it's a process. And so during that process, I didn't have a lot going on. Like I'd finish a lot of my stuff and just kind of be sitting, kind of waiting. But other than that, it's been busy because a lot of those, now that process is finishing. So now we're starting to see more seeds come in for me to print packets for and stuff. So, but other than that, it's unfortunate, but my sister ended up getting COVID. So, yeah, she's actually a surgical tech. So she's kind of in the front lines with all this COVID stuff, and she's having to kind of go through things and see a lot of things. And so it's been a crazy time for her, but I think there were three nurses that got it, and she, I think, interacts with them. And so she's at home now, kind of waiting it out. She's not having any bad effects. So she just kind of like feels kind of tired, But,
yeah.
Other than that, she's fine. So she's kind of wait and see, and at least she's more of a medical side of it. So at least she kind of has an idea of what to expect.
Right.
Which is pretty good.
That's the crazy thing with the COVID. And I've never seen anything. I don't think anybody's ever seen anything like this, but one thing is like, it affects everyone differently. Right. And, I saw a report on the news the other day where this lady's had these symptoms and had been affected over 4 months and still isn't better. And so, yeah, man, it affects everyone differently. And it has lingering effects, and it's insane. And we don't know, I guess we won't know for a couple of years from now, I guess, when they do some studies about how it really affects you, and the hair can do some long-term damage to your lungs and heart and all sorts of craziness. So,
yeah, that's the one that kind of always gets me. It's like, what will this do to people in 2 years? It's kind of like a lot of people think of, and it's obviously this is a different situation, but a lot of people look at 9/11 and they go, wow, like all those people died that day. And I said, a lot of people died that day, but there's a lot of people that died after because they inhaled all that debris and they ended up getting, it was like asbestos poisoning. Yeah. So it's crazy. You see that image where all that cloud's coming down the street, that debris, all those people that were covered with that have been sick years and years later. A lot of them have died. Like, so it's just kind of like the aftermath, even after they cleaned everything up and everything, there's a lot more people that died after 9/11 as opposed to like the day of 9/11. So that's the interesting part about this virus is like, what will things look like after, because it will do this wax and wane. I told my wife that. I said, we're not done. At one point she was like, oh, we're done with it. I'm like, no. I'm like, we're going to be dealing with this for many years.
For a while. Yeah.
So,
I mean,
it's going to come back. It's going to go away. It's going to come back. It's going to go away. You're going to see spikes. You're going to see dips. Like, it's just, it's going to be one of those things until finally, I think everybody, once we have that vaccine, I think everybody will finally kind of feel a little bit more comfortable because even if you get it, you can get a vaccine. You know what I mean? So
right. If you have to go to the hospital, it's just okay. Right. Give me the vaccine, and and one thing they didn't know is and it wraps it back into the sports here is, some of these players that got it in college football, were having enlarged hearts, and they didn't know if it was because COVID, if it was a reaction to that or not. That brought a lot of issues when they first did these studies, when COVID first started, because if it started having that effect, if you have an enlarged heart in sports, you could die in the field any second. Like that's a serious thing. And a lot of times you don't play sports but they found out that they don't think it was because COVID and they didn't know. So it's a very scary thing. Even if you get it, I don't know. I'm guessing asymptomatic people, it doesn't really affect. But I mean, the radio show I listened to on the radio here, 105.3, there's a guy that got it there. They've had a couple people actually get it. But one guy said it hurt to text, like just to pick up his phone and text. That's how energy draining this thing is. It's insane, man. And I hope your sister does. I hope she's asymptomatic and she doesn't feel anything and doesn't have anything like that, and she can go back to work pretty soon. So, yeah.
Other than that, that's been going on, and that was recently. I think we just found out yesterday. So, that's kind of crazy, and we're supposed to be planning to go Texas for Christmas. So we were going to go for Thanksgiving, but my wife's like, let's just chill out. Let's go to your mom's and everything. And I have 2 days. I have Christmas Day off, and I have the day after Christmas off, or Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off, or something like that. I have 2 days off, and it kind of bleeds into the weekend. So we're gonna try to head to Texas for Christmas, and hopefully my sister's better by then, because my mother-in-law's got rheumatoid, so she's like real sensitive immune system. So my wife's like kind of freaking out there. So, but outside of that, I mean, I didn't watch the Bronco game because I was just like, I don't know what was going on Sunday, and then I looked at the score and I was like, oh, I'm glad I didn't watch it.
It was one we could have missed there, Jeff. Drew Lock threw 4 interceptions. Yeah. And I saw. We want to talk a little bit about the Broncos. I saw an article. I thought, I don't know. I thought it was a little ridiculous. It makes sense. It was a little ridiculous. It was saying basically is Jerry Jeudy's career in the NFL being wasted because Drew Lock's not a very good quarterback. And I'm like, first of all, Jerry Jeudy's a rookie. All right. He hasn't had a career yet in the NFL. And he's figuring out a new system, and Drew Lock's figuring out everything. So I'm like, it's not like Jerry Jeudy's been in the league for 5 years and his numbers aren't very good because they're quarterback. I'm like, let's let's simmer down there in Denver with the article. It's like that's a little way too early for this conversation. Way too early for this.
The issue I have with okay, so the thing is that you either have to be good right away or you're not good at all, and I just think that's ridiculous. You go back and you look at John Elway. John Elway wasn't good when he first started. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. And then it clicked. And I think the thing that people need to understand is that Drew Lock played 4 games prior to this season.
Right.
And then
he hasn't had a full season.
Think about this. When he played those 4 games, it was under a different coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we still had our main coach, Vic Fangio, but still, the offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach were different. Then this new season comes. We get a totally different new coaching staff. They cannot meet. They cannot communicate with one another. They can only Skype or video message or whatever. And then you top that off with our offensive line is figuring itself out. We've had multiple injuries on the offensive line so far, especially left tackle. And then you got to also take into consideration some of our weapons have been gone. His go-to guy's gone. Sutton's out. Fant's out. You know, it's just like he's missing pieces, you know, and it's not like, I mean, I would love to have the best offensive line in the league, best offensive receiving core in the league with him at the helm. Sure, yeah, if you give him the best offensive line in the league, like a Dak Prescott situation, yeah, he'll thrive immediately. But you give him a team that's extremely young and figuring it out with a new coaching staff that they've never dealt with before, on top of injuries, you're going to have a crazy season. And he's going to have moments where something happened. And to get to the Jerry Jeudy thing, there were multiple times this season Jerry Jeudy dropped passes right at him, just right at him, and he dropped them. And I'm just like, you know what? I understand. This is a system. You're learning it. You're getting excited. They throw the ball. You're like, yes. And then you try to turn. As soon as you catch it, you drop the ball. I mean, it just happens. Those are rookie mistakes. So Jerry Jeudy is going to be good. Drew Lock, I do think he will be an average to above average quarterback. I don't think this is an elite quarterback. I'm not sitting here saying he's going to be the next Patrick Mahomes. I don't think that's the case. But why do we have to put him in that category? He doesn't have to be Patrick Mahomes. He can be whoever he is.
I didn't even read the article. I saw the headline. I'm like, come on with this, man. Get out of here. So I saw that they're in Denver, and I saw he threw 4 interceptions, and I was like, oh, that was a nasty game for him. But I mean, everyone's going to have their bad games, and
absolutely.
I mean, I just talked about Russell Wilson. He's turned the football over 10 times already this season, and that's quite a bit of time, especially for Russell Wilson. The play, I watched him play, and he seriously tucked the ball and like he's going to run it. I'm like, dude, he's got 15 yards where he gets touched. And at the last second, he throws this ball in the end zone and it's picked off. I'm like, what was that? You had 15 yards. So, yeah, man, it happens. Everyone has those games. Drew Lock. It's COVID year, injury. And it's also, I just thought that article is just way out of line. It just was stupid. I
think that people here are just so hungry for the team to be better. And they're wanting it so badly, but it's like, be patient. Like, let this stuff play out. This kid has only been in the league, truly only been in the league for a year. So right. Cut him some slack.
Well, not even a year. I mean,
no.
He's set behind Joe freaking Flacco, but that ain't much help. He only played 4 games last year. Like you said, all the issues going into this season. Yeah, it's tough to judge him from.
I know his mentor is Peyton Manning. I know that they communicate a lot, and he goes to I think during the off season he goes to the little, I don't know, their quarterback
camps.
Or whatever. So I mean, the kid's trying to learn. All right, yeah. So let him figure it out. Like, let him figure out his system, his method. The team's obviously behind him. they have the offense loves this guy and the team loves this guy. So let it all kind of gel together, because it eventually will. And some of these interceptions are either, maybe it's a poor decision, but it's also timing, so it's also maybe a wide receiver didn't turn at the right time. Maybe they didn't cut right at the right moment. Like, it's timing too. So it's like, give them a break, man. Like, let it, if we get 2 more seasons of this, then I will start worrying about it. But I'm not gonna freak out over part of a season that is littered with, they couldn't even talk to each other, much less be in person really with each other during the off season. So I'm not even gonna.
Yeah, and usually I give a quarterback 3 years, especially a rookie. You give him 3 years to see exactly what he is, and that way what he basically is going to be. You can either move on or keep going with him. So just total way too early to throw out the book there on Drew Lock. Let's jump into. We're going to switch gears here we're going to jump into the sidelines of this episode of Watson's Playbook, and these are just side notes that have gone on, and we got quite a bit here. It's going to be the NBA free agency of side notes, as that's actually started off. And here are some trades that we have heard that went through, and some rumors that are talked about here in the NBA. So first of all, the Lakers sent Danny Green and a first-round pick to the Thunder for Dennis Schroeder. And I really like this pick for the Los Angeles Lakers. I thought this was a great move for them. Danny Green, to me, we overpaid him, and he was not that great last year. He averaged 8 points a game. Not going to get the job done. We send him over to the Thunder and pick up Dennis Schroeder, who's a really good ball handler, and he averaged 18 points a game last year. So them picking up Schroeder adds 10 more points a game. He's a really good ball handler, and picking him up is basically going to probably knock off Rajon Rondo. He's actually already hit the free agent market. So we'll see what happens there. A big thing here, Jeff, and I'm not too worried about it, but it's got me a little nervous. Anthony Davis turned down a deal from the Lakers and will hit the free agent market. He wants a bigger deal. So that's, to me, is huge. If we lose Anthony Davis, the Lakers are basically nothing. You can't do it with just LeBron. Yeah. I think to get the deal done, he turned down their $28 million offer. I think he said he's looking for a bigger deal. I think they get the job done and work it out. I'm not sweating too much right now, but they have till December, I think the middle of December, to figure out that contract.
Yeah. I think he'll sign back. I mean, I don't know why he wouldn't.
Me neither. I mean,
outside of maybe, I don't think he'd go to the Nets.
No. It made me want to throw up. The chemistry he had with LeBron James last year, I think he signed back up for that. He coming off his championship. I think he's fine. I think he's just got to figure out what they're able to spend on him, and hopefully he finds it valuable enough that's a respectable deal for him, and he can come back. And LeBron James isn't got that many years left, in my opinion, and this is going to be Davis's team when LeBron James leaves. So, hopefully we're able to lock him down pretty good. A big one here, Jeff. The Milwaukee Bucks sent Eric Bledsoe and George Hill to the Pelicans for Drew Holiday, and they give up 3 first-round picks for Drew Holiday. They also added Bogdan Bogdanovic from Sacramento. They're hoping these 2 guys will help Giannis Antetokounmpo. I probably butchered that last name, but the Greek Freak, they want him to stay in Milwaukee. And my biggest problem with the Greek Freak is he's come out before and said, I'm not leaving Milwaukee. It's not happening. I don't want to join the super teams. I want to beat them. And recently he's come out and said, it just depends. It depends on what's going to happen. So he may be flip-flopping. I hear some teams are trying to influence him away from Milwaukee. And Milwaukee said, we're going to do everything we can to get you to stay here. They added Drew Holiday. They added Bogdan Bogdanovic. Bogdanovich is a guy from Sacramento. He's a really good 3-point shooter. That'll help them out a lot. Drew Holiday's been a good guy. He's been a good basketball player. He's a good basketball player. He's not great. They have Chris Middleton there with Giannis. Do you think that's enough to keep him to stay, or do you think he leaves next season?
So he has 1 year left on a contract, or did they tag him? Do they have tags in the NBA?
They don't have tags now. What the NBA does, that's not a tag, but the NBA allows the team that has them to offer them the most money. So they can offer him $80 million more than another team can. So if that gives them as an incentive to keep your players, because you can make the most money. If he leaves, he'll be leaving about $80 million on the table to go somewhere else.
Okay.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. I would say, man, if they make the finals, stays. But if they get bounced, I think he's out.
Right, and I agree with you. I don't think Bogdanovich and Drew Holiday are the splash players that he was looking for. I think he was looking for a superstar. I think Chris Paul would have been a good fit there.
Anthony Davis.
I don't know if they can play together very much, but
yeah.
I don't know. He was looking for someone else. So we'll see what happens. This NBA season is going to be interesting. They're starting right off the bat. I just don't know, and I think you're exactly right. It's going to depend on how far they get this season, and if he leaves or not. So the Dallas Mavericks are really wanting him to come and play with Luka. I think that would be a great matchup. The other rumor is, Jeff, is that he's already going to be headed to Miami after next season. They just went to the championship. They got dominated by the Lakers. I think he would fit in really well with Miami. I would like to see him there. I would also like to see him in Dallas playing with Luka. But we'll see. It's going to be a ongoing conversation the rest of this year in the next season.
I have one thing to talk about in terms of NBA free agency real quick. This is as of 50 minutes ago. The Atlanta Hawks are in play to acquire Boston Celtics forward Gordon Hayward. That's according to Chris Haynes, who's
nice.
I guess he's the senior NBA insider for Yahoo Sports and TNT. So he's reporting that about an hour ago.
That to me, that's not going to do much, in my opinion. For the Hawks, I mean, the Hawks are a team. They got what's his name? Trey. I forget his last name. He's a rookie. He came out with Luka Doncic. Trey Young. He came out from Oklahoma. He's a good player. He's a great basketball player. He put up good numbers. He could score the ball. Hayward is a guy he had his career in front of him. He came from Utah, went to the Boston. They had really high expectations, and then he got that awful leg injury, and he's been in and out with injuries ever since. Maybe he goes there and can really take off, but I just don't know. I don't think it's that big of a move. Jason Hayward is a name around the NBA, but he hasn't been much since he broke his leg, in my opinion. But
they're probably just dumping. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
maybe
making some cap space. The Boston Celtics are a team that is young. They keep that core together. I think they're a team to fight in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
The Suns trade 4 players. They're all nobodies. They trade 4. They are. They're just a bunch of. There's just a bunch of nobodies. They trade them in a first round pick to the Thunder for Chris Paul. And
apologies to any of the Suns fans. By the way, just to kind of apologize there because Ryan just called your players nobodies. So
they were like Ricky Rubio is the guy that I know the name of, and I'm like, he's not that good. So
hopefully Daniel Melgado's not listening to this podcast here because I know he's a Suns fan.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he is. But they're hoping Chris Paul bring in some leadership to the team and bring that veteran experience. Now, the problem with him, and the reason why he's not on a bigger team like a bigger market like the Lakers or the Clippers or someone like that, he makes too much money. Jeff, he's 36 years old. He's getting older. He played really good last year in Oklahoma. He's a good leader, but he's 36 and he's getting paid $40 million a year. So that's why the Suns had to give him 4 players so they could work out that salary there. But so he goes there to play with Devin Booker, who's a beast. There's rumors he wants out of He wants out of Phoenix. He just signed a big contract with them for, I think, 5 years, but there's rumors he already wants out. So that's going to be interesting right there. And one of the biggest things, Jeff, the biggest headline of them all right, James Harden turned down a 2-year, $100 million extension from the Houston Rockets. It would have made him the first player in NBA history to get paid $50 million a year. He turns that down, almost sealing his trade out of Houston. Now, rumors, Jeff, is he wants to go play with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving with the Brooklyn Nets. This could happen. This could very much happen. That there's strong leads going into that. I kind of want to see it, and then I don't, because it would be a super team. You got Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, James Harden, who played with Kevin Durant in Oklahoma. They want to meet back up and play. But to me, I think this would be a big. It would be. I don't know how to explain it. Gamble. It'd be a cluster F, in my opinion, Jeff. It'd be a cluster because, first of all, Kyrie Irving's a cancer. All right. Kyrie Irving is a cancer to any team he goes to. He went to Boston. Well, he won with LeBron because LeBron was there. He left LeBron James, went to Boston Celtics. That team underachieved while he was there. He says, I'll be back, Boston. I'll be back. You sign me if you want me. I'm coming back next year. He leaves and goes to Brooklyn. What did Boston do? What does Boston do? They play better. Brooklyn Nets had him. They play with Brooklyn Nets. They were one of the worst teams in the league. He gets injured. He out for the year. Brooklyn made the playoffs last year without him. I believe Kyrie Irving's a cancer. I believe Kevin Durant I don't like Kevin Durant either. He's a crybaby. And I do like James Harden, but I just don't think they will mesh well together. They're all going to want the ball in their hands when the shots, when the final shot clock goes off. I just think it's going to be a big cluster F, in my opinion. Well,
I mean, again, apologize to any of the Kyrie Irving fans or the Durant fans. Brian just called one of them a baby and one of them a cancer to a team.
Coming in with hot takes, Jeff. Coming in with hot takes here.
So it's kind of interesting. James Harden. If James Harden and Durant and Westbrook, I wonder how long, if they had stayed together for a little longer, what that team would have been like.
Right.
They left for a reason. Why, I don't know. I don't think we ever will. Why James Harden left, probably. I mean, obviously he wanted to get money, that he'd get paid, but there was obviously a reason he wanted to leave. There was obviously a reason Durant wanted to leave. It's like, would this change the Nets? Would this make them a better team? On paper, yes. Chemistry, I don't know.
Right.
Why would he turn it down is the question.
Because he wants out.
He's wants out, but where will he go?
Well, the rumors.
He could.
Well, the rumors are Brooklyn or Philadelphia.
Ooh,
those are the two rumors heating up. Philadelphia would be interesting. I'd rather see him go there and play with Embiid, and his old coach, I believe, signed there. So, my bad. His old coach is the assistant coach now for the Brooklyn Nets. My bad. Daryl Morey, the owner, or not the owner, but the GM from Houston, went to Philly, and he wants him to come there. My problem I have with James Harden is, look, he is a fantastic basketball player. He scores a lot of points. He plays defense when he wants to, and he's actually a decent defender when he wants to play defense. But the way he plays, it's ISO ball, and it doesn't go well with a lot of other players. And I think that's why a lot of people have left Houston. Westbrook wants out of Houston as well. So we're about to see the Houston Rockets go from two superstars made the playoffs last year. If they both leave, you're going to look at the Houston Rockets and think, wow, they're not even going to make the playoffs this year. So big changes there.
Mm-hmm.
The net, if he goes to Brooklyn, the Nets will be a good basketball team. I'm not saying they won't. Will they? No. Will they go up against and win in 7 games against a team that has more chemistry? Probably not. I don't see it. Especially look at this year. The Los Angeles Clippers got all these basketball players, and you're like, man, this team's loaded. They should win the championship. And they hated each other. There was rumors in the locker room that they literally hated each other. They disliked Paul George. I hear they're looking to trade him away. So chemistry goes into a lot of it, especially when there's only 5 people on the court. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But him turning down that $100 million extension basically says, get me the heck out of here, and let me go play where I want to play.
That's a lot of money to turn down for a short period of time. And it's an extension, which means
it was an extension upon what he was already making.
It's not even a new contract. This is just more money added on to whatever he's getting paid already. And he said no. So,
they'll be able to get a lot back for him.
If James Harden truly wanted to stay in Houston, he would have taken that. Or there would be a negotiation for maybe more years.
Definitely.
More money, more years, something. Definitely. So, I don't turning down that. I don't think anyone's hearing that. So I think he's on his way out. I think they're trying to figure out what to do there, because if Westbrook wants out, that's easier to turn around. James Harden's going to be a little bit tricky because, I don't know what the value of his contract is right now. Somebody's going to be eating money. So
they'll make it work. My problem with I think getting rid of Westbrook will be a little harder because he gets paid a lot of money and he's not very good. So
yeah, that's true.
He doesn't shoot the ball very well. He thinks he does. He shoots all these 3-point shots, and there's certain systems that Westbrook plays well in. There's certain systems that James Harden played well in. I just don't think they play well together.
No.
And Westbrook, I don't think Westbrook can be your main guy on the team. He needs to be number 2 or number 3. But we'll see where all that lands. And I
definitely could see a process of where possibly even Westbrook going to Golden State. It seems like a team that would work better with him as like a 6th man,
Yeah, off the bench. Well, he's getting paid too much money to come off the bench, really.
Well, but you know what I mean. A piece and a bunch of other pieces that are really good. I mean, you would have probably one of the highest scoring teams in the league. They would be shooting like crazy. So, it would be interesting to see him maybe on some like a Golden State, where Golden State's wanted to make a big push now. They had a lot of injuries. They didn't do anything. Now everybody's supposed, knock on wood, everybody's healthy, and this team's going to be completely different than what they showed this last season.
And they got the number 2 pick in the draft. The draft is Wednesday night, so see who they add there. Golden State's one of those teams that I think we kind of forget about because they were so bad last year because they had all those injuries. So you're going to add them back into the mix. Another thing too. If Houston doesn't do very good, and the Suns, I don't know if the Suns are going to make the playoffs. That's opening up more room for the Mavericks to get a higher seed, and see what Luka can do this year. They're talking about keeping the powder dry right now, so they can hopes to get Giannis next season. So, I just don't. If I'm a player in the NBA, I don't know why you wouldn't want to come play with Luka. So, what he does,
I think there's some connections there. I don't know what it is. I know they played in Euro. There's connections with Luka Doncic and Giannis, and I don't know the specifics behind it, but I know somehow they know each other. They've either played against each other, or they played around each other, or they were close when they were in Euro leagues and stuff. So I know that there's something about both of them and there's some kind of chemistry there, and I just don't know what. But if he were to come to Dallas, I mean, Kristaps Porzingis, I mean, yeah, he's there, but it would be Luka and Giannis. It would be 1-2.
It would be Luka's team, and Giannis would be number 2, and then Porzingis would be number 3. And I think, the Mavericks made the Porzingis deal, and Porzingis is a good basketball player. Don't get me wrong, but he has a lot of injury issues. He's going to miss the start of this year. He missed his knee. He's going to be out the start of the season. That was breaking news on 105.3 the other day, as they had on Donnie Nelson, and he said, "Yeah, we're gonna, he won't be ready for the start of the NBA season." I think that's just because the fact that they had a really quick off season here, but I think Porzingis. I think for them to win, they need Porzingis to be that third guy. I don't think he could be a second guy because you just can't rely on him as far as being there health wise. But things are set up really well in Dallas, and I don't care much for the Dallas Cowboys, but I have nothing against the Dallas Mavericks, and I hope Luka is able to get a ring because he deserves it. He is just I will turn on Dallas Maverick basketball game just to watch Luka play. That's how good he is. That's how good he is going to be. And he's doing things. I know it's only 1 year, but he's doing things that Dirk never did. So it's crazy. So, but that is your sidelines edition. It was mostly the NBA because that was going on. Oh, I got one more thing to throw in there, Jeff. Sorry, one more thing. And this has to do with college football. And I brought this up a couple months ago when these allegations first were brought up. LSU was under fire because Darius Geis, the running back for the Washington Redskins, former team known as the Washington Redskins, he was let go by the team because what was it? It was it was a domestic violence, right? Mm-hmm. And later on, you heard 2 women come out and say that he actually raped them when he was the LSU running back, and the team hit it up. Well, Jeff, a big report comes out on Monday, and I actually talked about this a long time ago when the first incident happened. A report came out Monday that 8 women have come out now in cases charged up against LSU about them hiding this sexual conduct, rape, domestic abuse, hiding all that going on, and nothing came of it. They let the players stay on campus, gave them a little slap on the wrist, and allowed them to play. And if this is all true, you're going to have heads rolling in LSU, and it will be the biggest program to be caught doing that. Penn State was a big one when Jerry Sandusky and all that broke a couple years ago. But this LSU one would be huge. Coach Orge, if this is true, that coach, what's his name, Orgeron, who I really liked. I watched their team last year. I really liked the LSU Tigers. He's got to be fired. Their heads have to be rolled. Same thing happened to the Baylor coach, Art Briles. When that happened in Baylor, he got canned. A lot of people got canned there. So you could see this breaking news after the end of the season, probably, where they start. If this really gets going, you can see some head rolls in LSU, and it's exactly what they deserve. I think any college that hides this and protects the football player, is sick. It's ridiculous. It's sick. I got 4 girls, Jeff, and if that ever happened to them, I would be up at the college in a heartbeat, calling for heads to roll. I just think it's ridiculous. No one's above the law, not these college football players. I don't care if they're helping you win championships, helping you win football games, that goes on, and that these people just slide it on the rug like it's no big deal because they're winning football games. So LSU could be under some hot fire on the hot seat coming up pretty soon. So look forward.
Which is kind of crazy because LSU's been doing good. So this is kind of like a sore spot
It would be huge. It would be huge.
Kind of like Alice. I mean, think about it this way. It's like kind of like Alabama. Something bad happened like that with Alabama. It'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Like what the heck? So yeah, I mean, it's crazy. There's a couple documentaries on one of them I've watched on Netflix, which is mostly about a football team within a small town, and something like that happened. And it was just like the town just was like, just try to sweep it under the rug. And I'm like, are you kidding? Like, but it's a small town, all they have is that. And it's like this weird teeter totter of like, you gotta bring it back down to like a more humanistic approach and go, well, I mean, but still football is a game and that is a human, so it's right.
Like, I get mad at it, Jeff. I really do. It really pisses me off. And the same thing happened here in Baylor. And if you went to Baylor, it's in a small town, but that's all they have, right? It's a college. It's huge. Art Browse ends up getting fired. They fired a couple other people. All those other guys, higher ups, they got jobs right away. Art Browse took him a while. He's got a job. He's coaching high school football team, Jeff. So he's back and coaching the young minds. And I just think it's ridiculous that he's even allowed to coach again. But yeah, man, it's just, that frustrates the heck out of me. The heck out of me. All right, man. Well, this week's spotlight of the week is something I've been looking forward to. As you know, Jeff, he got the PlayStation 5, and this is going to be Jeff's review of the PlayStation 5. I might throw in a couple questions for you, but I'm going to leave this time for you to open it up however you want to about the PS5 and how awesome it is or how bad it is. I don't know. I haven't played it yet, so you tell me that, Jeff. Tell
it's the worst. It's the worst it's ever played in my life.
I hear it's blowing smoke out the top. Oh wait, that's
broke.
wait, that's Xbox right here is smoking out the top of the console. But
so
anyways, go ahead.
So we ended up securing pre-orders like the day that they announced it at the reveal, where they first revealed the console, or not revealed the console, but the last reveal before launch. And they were like, okay, pre-order, here's the price, here's whatever. And I called GameStop and I'm like, when are y'all doing pre-orders? And they were like, today. I was like, oh, right. Well, I'm leaving the house. So I went, one store pre-ordered, one digital, and then they were like, you can't pre-order two. I said, but if my wife comes in, can she pre? She's like, it can't be two per store. So I had to go to another GameStop, pre-ordered another digital for my wife so that we could have two, because they, for whatever reason, wouldn't allow that at the same store. So needless to say, I picked them up, brought them home, kind of unboxed them. The controller, first thing I open up would be the controller, and it immediately felt sturdy, solid, probably a lot more solid and a lot more sturdy than the PS4 controller. It's hard to explain it. It's kind of like a premium controller. Like if you were to, like the Xbox had like an Xbox Elite, that's kind of what it reminds me of. Like it reminds me of a type that the sticks don't move. They don't jiggle at any point. Like they are solid. They move when you actually move. You feel like you have more control over the sticks. And so far, in terms of like when I first booted it up, it had an install, which didn't take too long. It was like maybe 5 minutes to install and do an update. But from the very first time I see the user interface, I'm like, whoa, this is different. It's different. It's fast. It's good. The user interface is a step above the PS4's interface. I know people missed folders. They don't have folders, but I think that will come at some point. They will include folders. I know folders weren't a part of the original launch of the PS4, and that came after, like maybe a year after or so. They had an update where they included folders. You could put games in them. And so they don't have that. But in terms of getting in and out of something, getting to the store, it's super fast. There's no waiting at all with this console. None. Like, you want to get to a game, you get to a game. You want to go to the store. I went to the store icon, which is all the way to the left, and I clicked it thinking like the PS4, where it's like you click it and it's got to open it up and it's got to, pop everything up and everything. It was already like it's baked into the user interface. It's weird. It's like it's already there. And all I had to do was scroll over to the store little icon and scroll down. That's it. I didn't have to click anything. I didn't have to do anything. I was like, this is crazy. So it's super quick, super fast, and that's that SSD going on. And the first game I wanted to talk about was the pack-in game. So if anybody gets a PS5, immediately the first game you've got to play is the free game that comes with it called Astro's Playroom. It is the coolest game. It's short. It's not very big. It's not like a 100-hour game or anything like that. This is like maybe a 4-hour experience, but it is the biggest love letter to PlayStation in the world. It's littered with PlayStation nostalgia, from the levels, the little robots in the levels that are, some of them are dressed like, one of them is in a boat with that's Kratos and his son from God of War, the last one. Some of them there was a part in one of the jungle levels where there's a robot that has mushrooms on his head and it's like looking like the clickers from Last of Us, and you have the two robots dressed up as Ellie and Joel, and they're peeking around the corner. It's just little details like that it's just amazing. That is one of the coolest free games I've ever played ever. Better than Wii Sports. And Wii Sports was probably the best packing game I've ever played. This was
Wii Sports was pretty good. Now, let me ask you a question real quick. This game, Astro's Playroom, is basically to kind of show off the new controller. Am I correct?
Yeah. So when you first start Astro's Playroom, you immediately get shown like a kind of a tutorial, like, hey, pull the triggers, and then you pull one trigger and then it shoots like this rocket out of the on the screen. It shoots like a rocket spurt out of the controller handle, and then you press the other one and it does on the other side. You can press both, and then it shows you can use the touch pad, and that kind of stuff. And I think it also, a couple of the robots go into the controller and then you can shake it. You can feel them in there. That's that. I don't know if that's the haptic feedback, but that's the HD rumble kind of experience where it just feels like you can feel them in the controller. It's hard to explain. You have to experience it, but when you experience it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But this entire game makes sense of that controller 100%, from the triggers to the rumble to when you go through a part where it's sand, you can feel the sand kind of from the speaker of the controller, but also the rumble. You feel the taps. And then when there's a part where the wind kicks the sand up and you can feel hitting the controller. It's incredible. And then there's parts where like you have a bow and you can feel that kind of pull and then release. There's parts where there's a little like gun thing that shoots little, looks like little bouncing balls or whatever. And you can feel that, kind of that haptic feedback on the triggers. It takes every piece of advantage from that controller 100%. Matter of fact, the other day I turned the sound all the way down and I just had the controller and all I could hear were sound effects the entire time. So I was hearing the taps of my feet on the sand. I was hearing the little enemies when I got them, and then I hear the coin, when I took them down. And you didn't even have to have the sound on the TV. It was incredible. I was like, this is amazing. So that experience was one of the biggest presents of getting the console. Was like, wow, this is incredible. Matter of fact, so incredible that I platinumed the game today. I got the last trophy.
Nice.
It's so cool. And they have little speed runs, and there's a very, very big Easter egg at the end when you go through each world. And then you get all these collectibles. Like when you get through these worlds, you have all these things that are like tucked away somewhere, and you pull them out, pull these little like tabs out, and this thing pops up, and it's like, this is a PlayStation 1. And you can see it. It's all in 3D. You can move it around. You can press the button, and it ejects the disc slot and little things. I mean, it's just placed. If you like PlayStation, if you really want to understand the history behind it, that's the game to play. It's so cool, littered with stuff. I mean, from things that nobody even talked about, things that never came to the United States that they have where you can see it and be like, what is that? You know? And it's just incredible. It's one of the coolest gifts that Sony gave to PlayStation 5 owners. And so anytime this isn't like a timed thing, like anybody gets a PlayStation 5 from here until the day that the next system is out, you have Astro's Playroom for free. Other than that, I did get to play a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima. So some of the backwards compatibility stuff I played, 60 frames, buttery smooth, amazing experience. I'm definitely going to be playing that game more, but I did get to the big game that everyone's talking about is Miles Morales. So I got to play Miles Morales, and the reason why is because of ray tracing. That game has two different modes. One is 30 frames per second in visual mode, which is the ray tracing, and another one is 60 frames per second performance mode, which is it has reflections, but it's not ray trace reflections. So if anybody knows, like when you take a character and you put him into a walking by a window, it's a 1-to-1 reflection of what the game is, what you would actually see in game. So that's ray tracing. So if you're like Spider-Man and you're swinging through and you see all these buildings that you're swinging past and you see reflections off of them, they're reflecting in real time. So you see an airplane in the sky, you'll see it in that reflection off that building. So and it does it on the ground with puddles. It does it in buildings if there's like a kind of glossy floor or whatever. And it's just incredible. I like as much as I respect the 60 frames. I really like ray tracing. So the 30 frames, especially in a story game, doesn't bother me one bit.
Right.
Both modes are amazing. And the great thing is you have options. It's not just one or the other. You have options. You can choose if you want 60 frames or you can choose if you want 30 frames. And, I think that's awesome. I think this generation of consoles, you're going to experience more of that. You're going to have that option, which PS4 Pro owners have been experiencing for a little while. Not on like any games like Last of Us Part 2 or any of these big graphic intense games, but like MLB The Show has a performance mode. And I always played at 60 frames. It's not in full 4K, but I always played at 60 frames because it's a better experience for me at playing a baseball game. But outside of that, it's so fast. It is so fast. Downloads are fast. I mean, downloads are fast. I downloaded Miles Morales in 20 minutes.
Nice.
20 minutes. I downloaded Miles Morales. Matter of fact, the first day I had the system, I downloaded Bugsnax, which is free for Plus, by the way, for 2 months. So if anybody wants to play Bugsnax, you can actually play it on PS4 and PS5, which is a cool game. I have played a little bit of it, and it's so weird and quirky and strange, but fun. And awesome for a free game. So you're getting 2 free games off the bat, not to mention the PlayStation Plus collection, which is tons of amazing, great back catalog games at PS4, including one right now, which is my wife's playing God of War. But but it's just the downloads were quick. I downloaded like 5 games the first night, and they were done. I was literally able to play those games. So
that's awesome.
Matter of fact, I downloaded Warzone, and
which we all know,
which in probably 30 minutes or less.
Which we all know can take freaking all day.
Exactly.
Get that big loaded.
I definitely wanted to test that. And I was like, this has got to be a fluke or something. Something's weird about this. But no, man, it downloads things fast. Downloads are quick with this. So if you have a digital one, or if you buy a digital game, or even if you have the disc version and they download updates or whatever, updates are fast. Downloads are fast. It doesn't matter. Something is in the system that's causing that. Maybe the SSD, possibly. But and load times are quick. You press start, you're in a Miles Morales, you get to your save, you open up your save, you're in the game. I mean, it's ridiculous. So expect more of that, especially from first party. Sony games are definitely taking advantage of the SSD. And I know a lot of other games are taking advantage of the SSD. Some of them are taking advantage of that haptic triggers. So are the force feedback triggers. So it's, I know Call of Duty is, and Fortnite is. So I definitely
I hope they all take advantage of that.
I want to see more of them taking advantage of the controller for sure.
Oh yeah, I got one question for you, and I want to see if you come up with the same answer that I have. Mine's just going to be on reading reviews, because that's all, you know. Like I said, I haven't been able to play it, but what makes this system next gen, Jeff? What is it that makes this system next gen to you?
It's definitely the SSD is going to play a big part, mainly because of world building tricks that some of the developers can do. Because it's not just, I mean, load times are it, but it can help, and that's definitely a big one. But I think when it comes to like these big, huge, massive open world stuff, that SSD is playing a major part. An example is like, for example, like Miles Morales, if you get to the top of a building, and I did this, I saw it at night and I was like, this is pretty cool, but I want to see this during the day. And there was a scene where it was during the day. So I went up to the top of the building, looked out and saw it in the day, and I could see for miles. And I'm like, that's the SSD. That's the SSD. Because you can see it for large distances. You can see, and nothing's popping in. That's what's crazy to me. So that's that power of the SSD. The graphics are there, and graphics are going to be amazing on this console. But the little things that Sony's doing with their SSD is going to play a major part, because I know right now that SSD is at 5.5 gigs a second it can read, but I know I've heard that they can even bump that up to about 9 or 10 gigs a second, which, if that's the case, that's one of the fastest SSDs I've ever heard of. I don't know of anyone that's faster than that at all. So, and one big feature that no one's talking about that I know they've had patents about it, is it's DSSL, I think it's DSSL or something like that. It's like deep system learning, I think, DSS. And it's like, it's kind of like if you were to take a 1080p or 4K image and crop it down to 1440, which is like sub 4K, or even 1080. But because you did that, you didn't lose any detail of the 4K assets in the game. So they look just as good as they did, but they're not technically natively 4K. And because you can do that, you can bump the frame rate way up to like 100 frames a second or 120 frames a second without losing any detail whatsoever. So I know they've had patents about that. I know that's been thrown around, and it's very possible, and Sony's done this before, there's stuff in the system that's not even unlocked yet. So as the system becomes more and more and more, we will start seeing more things unlocked that we didn't know were there. Because a lot of this is custom stuff, like the AMD RDNA 2 chip is custom. They've talked about that. They've added stuff to that chip. I don't think we're seeing it yet, but we will start seeing it relatively soon. And I think we'll start seeing it like Ratchet and Clank, which I think is coming out the first half of the year. Full games that are only made for that system is really what you're going to start seeing a lot of this cool stuff with. So maybe the new God of War, and even whatever Naughty Dog's next game is or whatever. But you're definitely going to know. It's going to be very interesting, first party wise, what's going to be possible. Third party, that's tricky. That's tricky because third party has to make games for now. Xbox One, Xbox One X, Series S, Series X, PS5, and PS4, and also PS4 Pro. So there's going to be this 2-year window where I don't know if we'll see too much from third party. So like EA, Activision, stuff like that, until finally the support for those systems drop. And we only get stuff for PS5, Series X, and then Series S. So once that happens, that's when we'll truly see the power of the system. As with any console, you're not going to see their true power until a few years in. So, but so far, amazing. It's
oh, go ahead.
No complaints. The console is quiet. Again, I don't have a disk drive one, so I can't attest to the disk drive version. I have seen some YouTube videos, and the disk drive's quiet. I don't know. There's some of them that maybe be defective, but that's just kind of the belly of the beast when you get hardware on day one. But it's big. It's a big console. It is.
Right.
It's a big weight. But
they made it for cooling. They made it big so they could cool it down.
So that's why I don't really have much of a problem, because it is super quiet and it's cool to the touch. Like they have liquid metal in there that's cooling the chip. There's a lot of stuff in there that they designed around quiet and efficient and cool. And I think that as long as this system, as long as people keep taking advantage of the system, and first party will for sure. And there's going to be I think there's going to be a lot of games coming from first party, more than we've ever seen for this console.
That'd be great. That'd be awesome. And I asked that question, what makes this system next gen? And you gave me a different answer than I was expecting. So I'm kind of glad you did. The SSD, we talked about it a lot on Watson's Playbook here, leading up to the system. It's going to be the biggest thing. From looking online and the reviews I've gotten, and when you look at, because we talk about the battle, the console war, the Xbox wants to beat PlayStation wants to beat Xbox. And when you look at these gens systems, which are, supposed to be the next gen systems, you look at the Xbox, you look at PlayStation, and you're thinking, okay, every time they come out with a new system, you're expecting it to be faster. You're expecting it to have better graphics. But what else takes it to next gen? And what I've been hearing great feedback is the DualSense controller has really changed the way you play games, the way you feel games. And from all the online stuff and the reviews and Facebook groups that I'm in, is that controller is the game changer for PlayStation, and I think that's great. I love that they didn't just make another controller, right? They just didn't make another controller that's different in design, because the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, the design is different than controllers, but they put so much more thought into it. And you look at Xbox and it's just another controller. They really didn't do anything with it. So I really love that aspect of it, Jeff. And I mean, I could go buy a PlayStation 5 controller. I wanted to buy one at the store the other day, Jeff. I had to stop myself. I don't have a PlayStation 5, but I wanted to just put it in my hands and feel it. But I didn't do that. But I hear this is the game changer of the system.
And it is, outside of the actual structure of games themselves, but outside of that, the controller is top level, top of the line, 100% legitimately the best controller I've ever used. I said that about the PS4. This is not a joke. I keep hearing people say that this is probably the best gaming controller ever built to this point. It's just designed perfectly. The light that everyone got annoyed with the PS4, that it's just accent marks around the touchpad. It's light. It works. The actual features of the controller are amazing. And the more people demand that these third parties support this controller, the better it's going to be in a long run. So I love seeing that Call of Duty is like, each gun is used differently for the trigger and the pulling back to aim, you can feel it, and the weight of that. And I think as the more people praise that, the more we're going to get it from third party. We're going to get it from first party. I'm not worried about that. The Sony games will have that, but as long as we get it from Ubisoft, as long as we get it from EA, as long as we get it from any of these third-party publishers, it is a game changer. It is a huge deal. This is probably the most unique and different console that they've ever come out with in terms of design, in terms of what they're doing. This is the most Nintendo PlayStation has ever been, period. And everybody, it's like, what does that mean? Well, a lot of times, Nintendo just kind of Wii U and all these things, and they mess around with different stuff. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But this is the step in the right direction, 100%, 100%. And they're focused. These two companies are focused on two different things. Microsoft's worried about Game Pass. That's all they want to talk about. Game Pass. And they're not worried about the actual console itself. And matter of fact, I'll guarantee you this is it for them. They're done with the console space after this. You'll get a little dongle. That's it. So, this is going to be interesting because these two companies are heading in the opposite directions. And one of them is all about service, which, what we know about services is that you pay your monthly fee, but you don't really know what you're going to be getting, and the other one is your traditional, this is what you're getting. Do you like this game? Okay, buy it. Do you like this game? Okay, buy it, and that's they're two different paths, but, one of them has the backbone to prove it. The other one doesn't.
Well, and I kind of think it like this, Jeff. Me and the wife, we go on dates. We like to go to the movies, right? That's our favorite thing to do. We go to dinner. We go watch a movie. And we go watch a movie, and when you sit down at the movie chair, the lights dim down, you're ready for that experience. You're ready for this movie to take you on a ride, right? And I think, and I can't say for sure because I haven't played it yet, but I think that's where Sony's going with it. I've talked about this before, and we've talked about this before. They want you to experience the game. It's not just a controller. It's not just another video game. They want you to feel it. They want you to feel like you're the character. They want you to pitch you right into the shoes of the person you're playing. They want you to feel it, to the 3D audio, the DualSense controllers and all that stuff. And that's what I really love about it. And I think even if growing up, and say if I was an Xbox person, this controller itself would have me going, I wonder what they're doing over there in PlayStation. I gotta feel out this DualSense controller. I think this controller is a game changer. And other than just the graphics and the speed of the system, which are mind blowing, I think this controller to me is what puts this system over the edge. And I just can't wait to see what else comes from PlayStation.
Yeah, and one last thing. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, the console is a big console." Like, once you start playing it, it just fades off in the background. You don't even think about it. You're not staring at it all the time. Like, I think when you first get it, you're like, "Whoa," But once you start playing with it, you're just like, I'm looking at the screen. I'm playing a game. Like, I'm not looking down at the console. So it's big, but it is. The
size of the console to me is not that big of a deal. It's going to sit on a shelf. Maybe it can't fit where the PlayStation 4 used to, but you'll find a place to put it, and you'll play the system, and then and eventually you won't even notice the PlayStation 5's there. Interesting thought I just had is when they come out with the virtual reality, could you imagine a DualSense controller with a virtual reality as you put that virtual reality headset on, and then you got the feel of the DualSense with it? I know I know they use different controllers for the virtual reality, but they could add that aspect into the controllers to pitch you more of, I guess, of a real feel of that. I don't know if that's something that if you've heard about or I don't.
I mean, if anybody owns a VR unit, especially a PlayStation 1, they'll know that looking at that unit, the design of the PS5 was centered around that. You can tell immediately. Just the black and white accents. And they were kind of going for that same design structure. So with this next version of that, which will probably be in a few years, I know that they'll do. Think about it this way: there's a possibility that you're going to be using something more along the lines of like I think it's like Oculus, but they have like little hand controllers, and it's very possible that those hand controllers are going to have the DualSense feedback, feedback in them.
That would be amazing.
And so
would be amazing.
And it's very possible that it'll be obviously the latency will be completely low. You'll probably have 4K images going on in there as well, and I think it will lessen the motion sickness, and it will get it kind of all centered around as one cord plugged into the system, as opposed to a million wires crisscrossing like it is now, where it's just a pain to set up and anything. When I had mine, it was just a pain to set up and I hated setting it up. But with the next one, I guarantee it'll be a lot easier. And I don't think it's going to be wireless. I know a lot of people talking about wireless, but I don't, for the power that they're trying to go with, I don't think it'll be wireless. But I do think the wire structure will be a lot less with the next one versus, because they build everything. Sony always does is they build everything with the future in mind. So when they build it, they're thinking, what are we going to be needing later that we would possibly accompany this with? And they're thinking VR too. So the system is designed to be a process that once the VR comes out, the system is designed around that as well.
Right. Well, awesome, man. That's I think, going to end the spotlight of the week. I was really interested to see what you had to say about it. I can't wait to get one, and I'm sure all those that do have it are just having a blast playing PlayStation and agreeing with everything that you said here tonight. So let's jump in to the top 5 games of Week 11 here in the NFL coming up this week. Number 1, Jeff, I got the Rams versus the Bucks, and this is an interesting game. The Bucks, the last couple weeks. Not this last week, but the last 2 weeks before that, they've kind of fell off. They got blown out by they barely beat the Giants, and then they get blown out by the Saints at home. They come back and they win against the Panthers last week, so they seem to get more back on a roll. They're playing the Rams. The Rams defense is really good. The Bucks defense is pretty good too. I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers here slightly because I do not trust Jared Goff against a good defense.
I have to agree with that. I do think I'm a big proponent of defense. So I do think that a better defense always will beat a better offense in the end of the day. I saw that even with the Broncos. So, I'm going to go with the Bucks on that one. I think it'll be close.
Yes, I was about to say the same thing. It's going to be close because they got Aaron Darnold. They're going to be able to pressure Tom Brady up the middle and put pressure on him. I just think Goff. I don't trust him against good defenses. Number 2, Jeff, we got the Packers versus the Colts. This is a game. The Packers looked very lethargic this week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They lost the week prior to the Minnesota Vikings. No, sorry, that was the week before. They beat the 49ers. And then we beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. We look very lethargic. We played the Colts. The Colts offensively is not that big of a threat. They don't put up a whole lot of points, but their defense is number 1 in the league, Jeff. They're the number 1 defense in the league right now. I'm going to give this game to the Colts. I think the Colts are going to win. I think Green Bay's got to step it up. We got to play with more energy. We looked very bad against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We were lucky to beat them. They beat them 24-20 this last week. We've got to have some fire because right now we're playing lethargic on offense. Our defense played better. I think our defense will play pretty good. We're going to be able to get to Phillip Rivers. I just think the Colts defense will be a little too much for us to handle. And let alone Devontae Adams is actually injured again. He injured his ankle last week, this last game against the Jags. I don't know if he'll play this coming up week. but I think the Colts will hand us our third victory of the year.
I'm going to go with the Packers. I think somehow, some way, it's going to be one of those where it's possible that Aaron Rodgers figures it out against the top defense. And maybe they don't, or maybe they're not going to play lethargic. Maybe they're going to be mentally prepared. But if there's anybody that can figure something out, I trust Aaron Rodgers. So I'm going to go with Packers.
I'm hoping you're right. I actually have to work this Sunday, so I'll have to record this game. They actually flexed this game. It was going to be at 12. They flexed it into the midday spot at 3:30. So I'll have to record it and watch it on Monday after work. But I'm hoping you're right. Matt LaFleur has got to get this team playing with some fire under them again. So we'll see what happens there. Number 3, a divisional game, the Cardinals versus Seattle. There's a 3-way tie right now for first place in that division between the Rams, the Seahawks, and the and the Cardinals. This is going to be a crazy good game. The first game they played was crazy good. The Cardinals won in overtime. I've changed my mind on this one, Jeff. I'm going to go with Seattle to win this game. They're playing in Seattle this time. Last time, the Cardinals won in overtime, but Russell Wilson turned over the football 3 times, so that helped him out a lot. I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to win this game and stop their woes of losing.
I'll have to say Seattle as well, mainly because when it comes to division games, they're always going to be close. Opponents know each other really well. And I think Russell Wilson knows this team better than he knew playing against the Bills, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that he knows this team better. So I think when it comes to this, he'll probably be more comfortable against them, and he knows their weapons they have. He knows maybe which weapons to throw against, which weapons not to throw against. And so I think I'll go with the familiarity on that one, mainly because I know, like, when the Broncos play, like, any of the division, we kind of know what we're getting ourselves into because we play them enough times. So, yeah, I'll go with Seattle on that one just because their divisions, and Russell Wilson, to me, knows this team a lot better.
Right. The division games are a lot harder usually because of that. So, number 4, we got the Titans versus the Ravens. And this is an interesting game. Like I said, the Ravens have been losing games lately. The Titans have fallen off a little bit of looking like they were going to juggernaut. They were undefeated. I'm gonna pick the Titans to win this game. It's going to be a close game, I think. Lamar Jackson, I'm not sold on him as being a elite quarterback, especially throwing the football. They're not a team that when they get down, they can come back. I know I talked about that earlier. I just feel like the Titans are going to be able to run the ball. Tannehill's playing pretty good this year. So we'll see what happens. I just think the Titans win. This is a toss-up game too. Ravens could jump back on and start winning some games. But I got the Titans. I think the Titans win. It really won't be an upset because they're the same record. But people might call that an upset. I'm not sure. So what do you think about that game?
I definitely wouldn't say upset, but I will say I've always said, and I've said this multiple times, that Lamar Jackson is a better runner than he is a thrower. And a lot of people are like, no. I was like, I don't trust the arm. I know he can make throws and stuff and whatever, but consistently doing it is the question. And, having a game here or there is great, but I think consistently where you get like a Patrick Mahomes who's consistently throwing the ball good, I don't trust Lamar Jackson in that. But I will say I'll give this to the Titans. Something's wrong with the Ravens, and I'm not sure what's going on there. But if the Titans can come in and take advantage of that, then I could see that happening. So I'll go with Titans.
Well, and here's the thing, Jeff, too. It kind of bugged me that Lamar came out and said that, oh, our offense is, the defense knows what we're doing and the offense is predictable is basically what he's saying. And the reason it bugged me a little bit is because Lamar Jackson is a unique quarterback, right? And the Ravens took him in and they made a whole new offensive system just for him because his weakness is throwing the football. So they had to change up they had to make a whole new offensive playbook, which is genius by the Ravens, and that's awesome. But now that teams have found that playbook, they're watching the tape, they know what's coming, and Lamar comes out and says, "Oh, it's predictable." Well, it's predictable because your weakness is throwing the football. They've already had to change up all this stuff just for you. So you're going to Lamar Jackson's going to have to figure it out. He's got to figure it out. He's got to get better at throwing the football, and they got to make those adjustments. But they're limited because of him. Right. I know that may make that seems a little off because they also win games because of him, but they're limited on what their offense can do because his lack thereof of throwing the football, and they can't run a regular offense like you would see a Patrick Mahomes where they're slinging the ball over the field. And when this team gets down, that's the problem with this team. They get down by over double digits. They're not made to come back.
Right. No, I agree with that completely.
So, all right, number 5, we got the Chiefs versus the Raiders. It was a hard game to choose between. It was hard to find a number 5 game because a lot of the other games were pretty bad, and this one is interesting because the Raiders beat the Chiefs last time they played each other. But I got the Chiefs winning this one. I don't think they're going to lose the Raiders again. This one is, I believe it is in Kansas City, and the Chiefs have been on a roll. I think the Chiefs won this one pretty handily.
I'm going to just, these are both division rivals, obviously, but
yeah.
I don't like one more than
you don't like either. I think
I have more hatred towards one as opposed to the other.
Yes. So you're picking the Chiefs.
I'm going to pick the Chiefs. Man, I don't like the Raiders. I don't like the Raiders. And you know what? I apologize to any other Raider fans out there. I don't like the Raider fans too much. I mean, they're kind of loud and whatever. Maybe it's changed now that they're in Las Vegas. I don't know. But, they're just – I just can't.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I like the Raiders, Jeff. And I respect the Black Hole and I respect their fans, Jeff. And it's only for this one reason. Back in the day when Brett Favre played, he played a game. I'm sure you're aware of this. It's one of my favorite games I've ever watched in my life. It's the game that he played after his dad passed away. Mm-hmm. And they didn't know if Brett Favre was going to play. And we played in Oakland. We played out there. And they, the Black Hole is usually you don't want to be the team going in there, right? They're cheering. Your player gets hurt, they're cheering it for it because that's just the type of fans they are, like, screw your team. Well, during this game, they showed a lot of love and support for Brett Favre. When he threw touchdown passes, they were celebrating with him. He threw like 5 touchdown passes that night. It was one hell of a game. He went off on that game. And I will respect the Raider fan base ever for that memory of them. They had signs, we love you, Brett. We're here for you. And I just thought that was really awesome of them. I know why you don't like him, and I get it being a divisional rival. But I just thought that was a class act of them, and I will always respect the Raider fans for that, what they did for Brett Favre, because Brett Favre is my favorite player, and the reason I'm a Packer fan. So
I'll give the fans that. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, man.
So I will say for that, awesome. But when regarding team. Right,
and I don't know if they'd have done it for a division if it was,
probably
John Elway, and they probably wouldn't have done that. But they did it for Brett Favre, and I always will remember that. So I respect them. I don't. Their team is decent, and their coach pretty good with Chucky out there. But we'll see what they are. But I just think the Chiefs win this game. And but yeah, that's going to be this episode of Watts Playbook. Number 27, Jeff. We're almost at 30. I don't know if you have any finishing words here for us, but
Not much.
Mike?
Just stay safe and, kind of just get through the end of the year. Everybody's trying to get through the end of the year. So I think if we can make it through all this stuff, then there shouldn't be anything anybody can't get through at this point,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they're talking. I hear rumors of another shutdown coming because of Spike, and we've gotten through one shutdown, and so if we have to go through another one, God willingly, we have to go through another one. I hope you guys, prepare again. I hope you guys have a job and continue to, put food on the table. That's a big concern in our economy and everything else. And so, but continue to pray for all you guys out there and just stay safe and wash your hands, wear your mask, all that jazz. And hopefully, hopefully next year we'll see this start going away and get back to school. Schools here in Texas are starting to send kids home and shut down again. And so it's just a lot of craziness going on, but we've gone through it once. We've kind of know what we're getting our foot into, and hopefully we can learn from that and keep on going, because that's all we can do. Share this guys with us, share this with your friends. Watson's Playbook. We're all over. Jeff has been actually playing the PS5 and putting it on Watson's Playbook Twitch stream. So if you want to see that Astros Play World or anything like that, Jeff's been playing that and doing a fantastic job of streaming that up there for you guys. The Watson's Playbook Facebook page. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us, our emails at watsonsplaybook@gmail.com. If you want to reach out to us, feel free to do so. Thanksgiving's coming up in next week.
Yes.
And it's my favorite holiday of the year, Jeff. I love it, getting together with the family, filling our belly with food, watching some football. It doesn't get much better than that at all. Christmas is right around the corner. So, it's a good time of year. And I just hope you guys stay safe and have a good Thanksgiving and have a good Christmas. But of course, we'll have an episode out next week before Thanksgiving comes. So, but all right, man, I appreciate you jumping on again with me this week, and hope you have a good evening and good rest of the week.
All right. You too. Stay safe. Take care.
Yes, sir.